Hey, what's going on, people? We're back on Total War Warhammer today with the multiplayer rebalance overhaul mod. I'm commanding the Empire forces of Middenland with the wonderful magical sniper known as the Templehof Luminark in the vanguard, equipped with the Net of Ammontok, which has received some substantial changes in this mod. Talk about that in a second. And a pretty cav-heavy army. Praise the sun with the Templar Knights of Myrmidia, dedicated to the worship of the goddess of warfare and battles. And we have some Empire state troops backing them up. Empire halberdiers, and hidden over in the woods, some Empire swordsmen. Just like I said, a lot of state troops. Demigryph knights with halberds to give me a little bit more punching power in the cav fight, or in the bonus first large category. And of course, who better to lead the Empire forces of Middenland against the Gathering Dark than the Elector Count Boris Todbringer himself. Lot of poison warhounds sallying out now to try and deal with my Luminark. And the Sons of Goros are on the field as well. 36% physical resistance when they're near a Lord, and magical attacks make them pretty potent in melee. We have Malagor the Dark Omen, Gorbel, and the Butchers of Kalkengard that cause terror and have regeneration, and they look like cows. And they have utter belts, so you know that they're going to be pretty terrifying in melee. So, a lot of stuff to deal with here. Let's press play and see what's going on. So, the Poison Warhounds are coming in to try to deal with the Luminark. That was bait. I am trying to make them get closer to my cav so I can spring an ambush and hopefully take out those warhounds or whatever cav sallied out early on in the battle. And so, looks like Hazard is going to take the bait here. He's sending in the Poison Warhounds to deal with the Luminark, and here come the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Sallying out of the woods now. Boris can easily deal with these warhounds. Not really going to be much of an issue for him whatsoever. One has already terror routed. Knights of the Blazing Sun will actually wheel off and deal with the Sons of Goros here. So big charge, and you'll see that is one of the changes to Net of Ammontok. It no longer is point target, it's ground target, which means you have to time the spell so that whatever's caught in the initial AoE gets tied down. You can't just click on a unit and expect to tie them down with Net of Ammontok. And what's really important is that it now doesn't update target. So you see, in the default base game, those Ungor or Goreherd would have been tied down with Net of Ammontok. They are not now because it doesn't update targets. If you're not in the initial AoE of the spell, you won't get tied down. So that's pretty important. Pretty big nerf to the spell, but I think it's a good change for the game overall. Malagor the Dark Omen is in the sights of the Templehof Luminark, charging forward, and he got smacked in the face. Third of his HP gone now in one single shot, and Boris is doing what he does best on top of that Griffin, that terrifying, murderous Griffin. Beastmen getting sliced apart like wheat before the scythe, and Knights of the Blazing Sun wheeling into position to deliver a devastating charge. Thank God there's no friendly fire, because that would have been really bad for me otherwise. And they're going to punish those isolated Goreherd there. Now these Knights of the Blazing Sun getting slaughtered by Traitorkin from the Lore of Wild. Would have been so cool if there was an animation where the horses like bucked off their riders and just stomped them into the dirt. Or Demigryphs like knocked their riders off and just ripped them apart. That's basically what Traitorkin does. It makes your mounts turn on the rider itself. It doesn't obviously do that in Total War Warhammer. Would have really been awesome if there was an animation for that. But Boris probably doesn't want to stick around in melee with a Gorbel. And big shot from the Templehof Luminark. Didn't just damage the Gorbel really heavily there. Also jibbed a bunch of Goreherd as well. That was glorious. And the Beastmen assault is well underway at this point. Minotaurs somersaulting forward into some Knights of Myrmidia. And they'll do some decent work there with their armor-piercing damage. Those Knights had already been committed into melee. And now these state troops are wheeling into position as well. Another Bolt of Solheim going forward, slaughtering a Minotaur there. And they'll have to pull back. Cygor being summoned from the Lore of Wild. Malagor doing his work with his magic. And the Knights and the Empire state troops holding a line together as the Minotaurs attempt to bust through. Demigryph's going to get a really nice hammer and anvil charge, slaughtering a bunch of Ungor herd, and basically getting rid of a lot of the bodyguards that were surrounding Malagor, who's now in a pretty threatened position. Minotaurs painting the town red with some Empire swordsmen and some drunk-ass camera work from your boy Indie Pride, as he attempts to look at the Korok's Man-Rippers dealing with the Demigryphs over on the right flank. In the center, Butchers of Kalkengard. Exactly where you expect them to be, in the thick of the fighting, making sausage out of everything they touch. I love this unit. They literally just look like big, angry cows. I mean, that's what Minotaurs are, but they literally look like cows. The black and white thing is hilarious. Big shot again from the Templehof Luminark, and now the Minotaurs are in a horrible position, engaging Boris Todbringer, surrounded by Demigryph Knights with halberds, and being shot to pieces by the Templehof Luminark. Things are going pretty well on the Empire right flank, but the Cygor is tanky. Even though it is degenerating, and it will be able to survive, take a lot of damage from those Demigryph Knights before it goes down. Butchers of Kalkengard have pushed through the center and are now rallying forward, pushing through, trying to get at the Templehof Luminark, but no dice on that front. The Knights of the Blazing Sun will charge forward and protect their magical artillery. Minotaurs are still making mincemeat of the Empire left as the Cygor drops its boulder, its broken waystone on the head of Boris and his griffin. But that fight should be going very well for the Empire right now. Cygor probably on its last legs at this point. Boris pulling away. Demiurge's going for the Minotaurs, who are again, these Butchers of Kalkengard are on the prowl, looking to take out that RD piece because it's already done so much damage this game. And a big net. Well, I say big. I don't know that it actually made a big impact on the game at all. Everything was kind of already tied down in melee over there. So, oh, there's a Gorbel though. Big shot. Okay, yeah, that was worth it. That was definitely worth it. Gorbel dies, and a bunch of the Korok's Man-Rippers basically just explode. Glorious right there. And now the Butchers of Kalkengard are in a very bad spot. A lot of armor piercing and a lot of bonus versus large surrounding them at the moment. There are some other Minotaurs on the field trying to come to their defense here. Shield getting tossed up into the air. Taking a big bolt of Solheim to the face. And they are desperately trying to shut down this Luminark of Hysh. Don't know that they'll be able to, though. They're on the hunt. Armor-piercing damage will be able to take it down quick if they're able to, but Demiurges pull off. And now they're looking to take out these Minotaurs. And at this point in the game, Beastmen looking like they're on their last legs. Malagor was sniped down by the Luminark, as was the Gorbel. Minotaurs just not in a good spot, isolated at this point. Nothing really on the front line, and that will be the game. So yeah, kind of unconventional there from Middenland and the Empire in general. I personally very rarely use the Luminark of Hysh. I've never really liked it because for a long time, the firing angles on it were just awful. It was atrocious. If there was any unit in front of you, even if it wasn't actually blocking the shot, even if you were trying to shoot like a Gorbel that was towering over your other Empire state troops, it just wasn't able to do what it was supposed to do. They fixed that in the last patch. They fixed his line of sight, so now it can actually make a pretty big impact on games. I mean, 89 kills, killed a Gorbel, killed Malagor, did a lot of damage to the Minotaurs as well. Like, that was definitely worth it. I was able to micro it, and it just did a crap load of damage. Empire state troops did exactly what they're supposed to do, hold the line, while Knights of the Blazing Sun kind of deliver that coup de grace and the rear charge. But we're not going to end the video here. I have a very similar replay. Well, the replay is very different, but the build is very similar. So you can see I have the Demiurge Knights with Halberds, I have the Knights of the Blazing Sun, 4 Empire Swordsmen, 2 Halberdiers, Boris Todbringer, and the Luminark of Hysh, the Templehof Luminark. Again, so this time it's in a 2v2. My teammate has brought a kind of weird build. A lot of giants, with giant spam, essentially, which can be amazing against some factions. I guess it can work against the Beastmen and Norska. You're a lot more likely to see that against vampire accounts or something, like a faction that doesn't have very reliable bonus versus large. So there you saw a pretty nice shot from the Luminark of Hysh, hitting the Cygor, the Eye of Morslib, in the face. You have to be very careful about that guy. That's why I'm focusing him down early, because he has a potential to just wreck us from afar. Those amber stones that he's throwing can just do so much damage. You just saw the Empire State Troop take a big nasty volley from that. Harpies, kind of sillily going to attack my Luminark, and of course with Boris there, and my Knights of the Blazing Sun. Not very worried about them whatsoever, so I'll take them off the field and pretty much destroy the unit. They'll come back, but very few of them will remain. And the Giants will begin their long march towards melee combat. Now, I'm going to do my best here to back them up, but I really want to be operating with my Luminark on the flank, try and get around. The way they've done it is, with their build, is they've kind of shielded the Eye of Morslib way in the back, and I can't quite get into range and shoot it down at the moment. It's just outside my range, so I've got to focus on other targets now. And so I'm going to take out the Bray Shaman early on in the battle, make sure it can't cast anymore. Big shot coming in, and good night, sweet prince, that thing is gone. So taking out the caster early. I don't like gen sniping very much. I will occasionally do it if I feel like it's the only way I can win the game. I could have gone for his Lord there. Instead, I'm going to go for his Brave Shaman, take out the magic component of his army, and then focus on dealing with the big monsters like the Eye of Morslib in the back. You can see my Cav is shifting to the right now to deal with those Norskin Ice Hounds or Ice Wolves. And right now, I'm kind of slow on the uptake with my state troops. They should already be getting into melee at this point. Yeah, I am being very slow with my melee troops, so they need to be getting into melee. That's definitely a micro mistake on my part. But my knights are dealing with the warhounds, or the ice wolves rather, and now I'll send my cav around the flank and try to go for a hammer and anvil on the back of these Norscan troops. The reason I'm doing it this way instead of a regular replay is a lot of people have been asking me if I could show some live gameplay, but then talk about it in post-commentary and talk about what I was thinking during the battle, because it's a lot easier to get your mind in the right state when you're not playing, because you can just focus on the gameplay itself rather than actually microing and commentating at the same time. So yeah, my cav is going to slaughter those ice hounds there, and you can see I'm using my shift right-click drag to move my units into a position, kind of give them waypoints so you don't have to continuously babysit them to get them into a good spot. Knights of the Blazing Sun and Demigryph Knights have taken 0 damage, and the Norscan Ice Wolves are definitely being mismicroed by my opponent. I've killed those Ungor herd that were on my left flank, and now I'm moving towards the center to deal with the Beastmen. The Giants are doing alright right now, but there is a decent amount of armor piercing and bonus versus large on the field, so they're not going to have the easiest time. If they had been against vampire accounts or something, it would have been a much easier fight for them. You can see my Empire State troops are moving around, trying to get a rear charge on the Beastmen, while the Giants just tie everything down and hopefully terrify them. Big hammer and anvil coming in from the Knights of the Blazing Sun in the background there, into the back of some Marauder champions, I believe. Big charge, and that should cause some routing for sure. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of routing there on the right flank. 2 Giants in there as well will definitely imbue some terror. And finally, my Templehof Luminark is in a position to take out the Eye of Morsley, who's been firing for quite a while. Hasn't had great line of sight on all of our troops, although I think he's been going for my Empire State troops, who have been a little bit exposed. Stand your ground getting popped over the big melee brawl that's popped up. That'll help the Giants stay in melee a little bit longer, but you can see the Greenskin Giants are not having a very good time right now. The Beastmen and Norscan combined force is kind of overwhelming them at the moment. A couple of them are wavering. One of them is routing, actually, with almost 0 HP left. And right now, things actually aren't looking amazing for us. It's going to be up to my cav to try and turn things in our favor here. So, Boris going after a Ice Wolves chariot. Cav is... They charged in there, and all those Bestigors, all those armor-piercing units, just doing a number on them almost instantaneously. So I have to pull out of there. I don't want to leave my cav in there for very long whatsoever. And at this point in the battle, the most important thing is getting my cav into a safer position. Another big shot coming in from the Templehof Luminark. Should be one more, and the Eye of Morsley should go down. But the Marauder Ice Wolf Chariot is tying down my Luminark for the moment. Boris needs to get in there and finish that thing off. But I need to get my cav into a safe position. Get those Giants, the Greenskin Giants, need to get into melee and provide some kind of anvil so that my hammer from the cav can come in and finish off the rest of these Beastmen and Norscan forces. But right now, a lot of them are just kind of, well, there's one sitting around in the background. There is some artillery firing in as well from the Greenskins. And they are operating in a blob right now, which is actually good. You want those Giants to be supported by each other, otherwise they get surrounded and cut to pieces. Finally, it goes down, dropping that big block of amber, and killing on Cygor is very important here. But my cav is having a bit of issue. We're losing a lot of our anvils. There's 2 full-strength Giants, mostly, which is going to be good. They need to get into a better position, though, so that my cav can actually get a rear charge for them and finish off whatever closes into melee. Luminark will go down to Wulfric. Man, he slaughtered that thing so fast. Templehof Luminark is down here, and now my teammate is drawing stuff. I think he drew like a penis at the beginning of the game, which I returned in kind. Needs to be getting those Giants into melee, draw less penises, do more killing. Need more killing for sure. Boris is tied down, and he gets slaughtered here. That was crazy too. He was full HP. Wulfric must have popped his Hunter of Champions ability on him, which I didn't actually catch while I was playing live, and pinned him to the ground, and then they just finished him off so quick with the Werekin as well. That was brutal, and really good work from the Norscan player, finishing off Boris there. That's going to cause a bit of a chain rout on my line, and now, right now, I only have 2 units that are under my control that aren't routing. The Knights of the Blazing Sun and the Demigryph Knights with Halberd. So, really well played from my Norscan opponent there to pin down Boris like that with the Hunter of Champions and with the Frostbite mechanic. Boris just wasn't going anywhere. He died so fast. And now, the Giants... Now we need to basically do, this was the plan to begin with, right? It was to use them to pin down the enemy infantry force and then get the rear charges off with my cav. But now we really don't have a lot of support for the Giants. we're going to be able to get the Demigriffs in. I'm trying to finish off Mortar the Shadow Gave, trying to take him out, and I am basically routing some of these units, finishing them off, making sure they don't come back to the fight. But this was annoying here, because my demis were in guard mode, and for some reason, they just weren't able to surround Mortar. And if I'm able to kill Mortar here, the Beastmen will probably rout. Greenskin Giant, or Greenskin General just went down as well. Things are starting to look pretty bad for us. Finally, the demis get their surround off, although it wasn't quite fast enough. I think Mortar is actually able to pull out, and with his regeneration, might even be able to survive. Yeah, he's going to survive and regen a bunch of that health, and now things are looking super bleak for us. Empire State troops are rallying here. Some of them are coming back to the fight, but the balance board definitely shifting in our opponent's favor. We're going to have to do something crazy if we want to win this game. So I'm going to try to get my Empire State troops back into the fight, but they're quite a long ways off, being hounded and harried by some Ice Wolves. Nice, the Blazing Sun going to get a charge into the Ungor Spearmen. They'll be able to rout pretty easy. They do have a bonus first large, but they won't brace in time, so should be able to rout them. Charge coming in from the demis, and I'm using the Knights of the Blazing Sun, Knights of Myrmidia, and demis in tandem with each other, trying to take out the Butchers of Kalkengard. But will it be enough? At this point, no. Bestigor is coming in. Mass rout on my line. Everything's wavering. Everything's about to go bye-bye. And good night, sweet prince. The game is over. We're going to lose it. That was a very winnable game. I think if I hadn't lost Boris there, honestly, like, during the game, and even when I was watching it back here, I lost track of him for like a split second, and he died. Hunter of Champions and a Werekin, when you're on a big model like the Griffin, Wolfric will just slaughter you. Like, you're not going anywhere. You're pinned to the ground. Griffin's got a big hitbox. Werekin and Wolfric together just absolutely murdered Boris, and that was the turning point right there. So that was really well played from the Norskin player. Bit of a micro mistake on my part to let him get caught and let the Luminark get caught, because I did have net, which I didn't use well that battle at all. I had net, and I could have basically prevented Wolfric from getting even close to the Luminark, but you saw I did try to pop the net on him there at the end, right before the Luminark went down, and I couldn't cast it from close range. Hope you guys enjoyed those battles. See you next time.